Welcome to Lewis Central Community Schools. Over the next few minutes, you will receive a brief introduction to the Iowa Core Curriculum. This will not cover everything you ever wanted to know and then some about the Iowa Core Curriculum. It is simply an overview. The intention of this presentation is to give everyone a common foundation in which to correct misconceptions and build the knowledge about Iowa Core Curriculum. Let's begin with an enduring understanding of what the Iowa Core Curriculum is. A mandated statewide effort to improve teaching and learning, ensuring that all Iowa students engage in a rigorous and relevant curriculum. The outer ring illustrates the supports that are needed to implement the Iowa Core Curriculum. The inner ring shows the three major areas of the Iowa Core. Notice that it does include more than just content. We will look at both of these outer rings again later in the presentation. The whole graphic represents many things. It represents the student and the student's learning, the knowledge, skills, and actions of the district leaders and classroom teachers within the community, in the school, and also in the classroom. The tools and resources that support the implementation, as well as the professional development that enhances the knowledge, skills, and actions that educators need in order to ensure students engage in a rigorous and relevant curriculum. In order to give the viewer the historical perspective of the Iowa Core Curriculum, let's look briefly at a timeline at the state level. In May of 2005 and 2007, the state established a model core curriculum in the content areas and what is widely known as the 21st century skills. At this point, districts could choose to embrace these. In other words, they were voluntary to adopt. In May of 2007, the Senate mandated state core content standards. These are different than the Iowa Core Curriculum. In May of 2008, the governor signed the law requiring all districts to implement the Iowa Core Curriculum, of which the content standards are part. Then, in July of 2010, Iowa adopted the National Common Core Standards. So as you can see, our work before us is mandated by the state. Now let's take it to the district level. The Lewis Central District Leadership Team, which consists of about 24 teachers, administrators, and area support people, have been attending state-led training on the Iowa Core Curriculum, learning about it, how to introduce it to the staff, the implementation process, and also the state accountability piece for districts. This team, as well as 4 core content teams, have been meeting half days once a month, learning and planning together to best facilitate this implementation for Lewis Central. In July of 2010, our implementation plan was due to the state. Some districts across Iowa have been involved in pilot programs around aspects of the Iowa Core Curriculum. As you can see, while the state has 2 deadlines, one for grades 9 through 12 and one for grades K-8, Lewis Central made the decision to implement pre-kindergarten through 12 simultaneously. Planning and collaboration will continue this year as the whole district begins to be engaged in the processes and protocols to implement the Iowa Core Curriculum with fidelity. Beginning with the school year of 2014, all districts at all levels must have embedded the essential concepts and skills in our instruction via those characteristics of effective instruction included in the Iowa Core Curriculum. After looking at this timeline, it is evident that implementation will not be done overnight by a few people if the intention is to implement this with fidelity. One broad essential question to help set the stage today: why is the Iowa Core Curriculum important? Statewide, there is a need for setting and maintaining high expectations for our students, our teachers, and our leaders. It is clear that the main factor to improve student achievement is a quality teacher in every classroom, every day. We must guarantee a collaborative and productive environment that is focused on building the knowledge and skills of students, teachers, and leaders, with the end result being improved student achievement. We must ensure conditions within our schools and classrooms so that all students are challenged, motivated, and engaged in learning to higher levels. Students entering our classrooms tomorrow will need to learn in a much different way. New research is emerging that confirms students that are digital natives learn and collaborate differently than before. Schools will need to acknowledge and embrace local and global challenges. Some of those challenges include 54% of occupations in Iowa require post-secondary education. 1 in 6 higher education students are enrolled in online curriculum. In 2009, a U.S. Department of Education study revealed on average, online students outperformed those receiving face-to-face instruction. Essential elements of 21st century learning are social-based, untethered, and digitally rich. In meeting these expectations, it is imperative to have the supports represented in the outer ring mentioned earlier. The community needs to be fully informed and actively engaged in the process, including business and industry, families, and other community agencies acting interdependently. Schools and supporting agencies function as an integrated system and provide a coordinated approach, consistent communication, and differentiated delivery. Committed leadership actions are focused and provide the expertise, guidance, and resources needed to support teaching and learning. The Iowa Core Curriculum emphasizes the need for alignment among all three areas represented by the inner ring: content, instruction, and assessment. All three functions need to be continually addressed in our unit and daily plans, the connections highlighted in our various curriculums. This leads to the following essential questions. How will we know students have learned the concepts and skills that we want them to know and be able to do after a particular unit of study? And what instructional strategies, critical thinking abilities, and classroom events will assist them in learning what we have identified for the unit? While it is important for leadership and community to support these efforts, ultimately quality, passionate classroom teachers are key to successful implementation of the Iowa Core Curriculum. Facilitating student learning involves deep understanding and artful use of instructional strategies. These are 5 characteristics of effective instruction that have been identified by the Iowa Core Curriculum as forming the foundation of our professional learning. Included here are brief statements of what each characteristic is and also what it is not. Also note that these characteristics of effective instruction are not mutually exclusive. In other words, it is not possible to teach for understanding without providing rigorous and relevant opportunities as well. This gives the viewer an idea of what is meant by instruction within the inner circle of the Iowa Core Curriculum graphic. Let's move on to another piece of the inner circle, assessment. All of these types of assessments serve an important role in the Iowa Core Curriculum. Our district uses assessments from each category. For example, as kindergarten students come into our system, they are assessed by teachers and paraeducators for skills they enter the classroom with in order to meet their needs throughout the year. Diagnostic assessments are used during the year at many levels to assess where weaknesses or gaps in learning are for a student. Then strategies are put into place according to those deficiencies. Formative assessment strategies and tools should be used to inform students and teachers during student learning in order to better facilitate that learning. And of course, summative assessments are necessary to inform teachers, the district, and the state of the progress being made for all students. These include the end-of-unit type assessments used by teachers in the classroom, as well as outside standardized testing,
such as the new Iowa assessments,
which Iowa uses as the reporting tool for No Child Left Behind. Multiple research studies indicate having a balance of these assessments is crucial for an effective learning environment. This does not imply having as many standardized assessments as formative classroom assessments. What it does imply is that a learning environment where there is, for example, no formative assessing or no diagnostic assessing will be much less effective in providing a rich learning environment for maximum growth of all students. Using appropriate assessment tools is what is emphasized. An essential question to pose in order to make connections between instruction, content, and assessment might be: how is data from these different types of assessment informing the right people to enhance student learning and raise achievement levels for those students? The final area of the inner ring is content. Our district already has locally identified standards and benchmarks for all grade levels and all content areas. Many of our teachers have served on multiple committees over the years for this to be accomplished. We are not carelessly abandoning these, but neither are we going to stubbornly hold on to everything as the district aligns its content with the content of the Iowa Core Curriculum. The district does not have the option of ignoring the content of the Iowa Core Curriculum. One task for all of us will be to look for that content alignment and make adjustments where needed over the next 2 to 3 years. The Iowa Core Curriculum provides comprehensive details to assist educators in identifying the content, instruction, and assessment that will help students meet all standards and benchmarks. If we are intentional about aligning curriculum, instruction, and assessment, as well as focusing on improving instructional practices, student achievement goals will be met. The essential content and skills of the Iowa Core Curriculum are outlined in grade spans for these content areas. It is the task of each district to further delineate this content to specific grade levels. Literacy is the integration and practical application of reading, writing, speaking, listening, and viewing. Mathematics, understanding and applying concepts, practices, and facts. Science, investigating, designing experiments, questioning, exploring, and defending conclusions and engaging in inquiry. Social studies, acquisition and application of knowledge and skills associated with economic, political, civic, and social forces. And 21st century skills, a demonstration and application of employability skills, financial literacy, health literacy, and technology literacy. These identified 21st century skills come from the national work that has been done over the last few years by the Partnership for 21st Century Skills. The following statements capture the expectations and outcomes the state of Iowa holds for every district over the next few years. Each and every K-12 student will learn all the essential concepts and skill sets identified in the Iowa Core Curriculum for life in the 21st century. Each educator will embed the essential concepts and skill sets in rigorous and relevant instruction informed by ongoing formative assessment. Every educational leader will support and ensure an aligned system of curriculum, instruction, and assessment focused on the Iowa Core Curriculum essential concepts and skill sets. It was stated earlier that qualified, passionate classroom teachers are essential in the implementation of the Iowa Core Curriculum. Here you'll find some of the responsibilities that classroom teachers, as well as others, must attend to in order for this to take place. At Lewis Central Community Schools, we have looked at what structures and resources will best meet the needs for our implementation process. At the district level, our district leadership team is committed to supporting implementation efforts through collaborative planning of professional development, communications, and leading the district efforts. Content teams consisting of teachers from each of our buildings, area agency support, and administration have built a foundational knowledge of content and around the Iowa Core with the intent of facilitating vertical alignment of curriculum, best practice instructional strategies, and also assessment practices. At the building level, there are leadership teams and possibly building content teams. At the classroom level, professional learning communities are utilized to facilitate learning among and between grade levels and departments. The key point of the Iowa Core Curriculum is that it shapes a process of improvement that is ongoing, involving more than just content, and continues beyond the targeted date for full implementation. Expect to be involved as the implementation process continues here at Lewis Central Community Schools.